Farmweek is a production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, the American Academy of Pediatrics says it's important for children to eat produce, but there's not much difference between organically and conventionally grown vegetables.
Beefing up the Bulldogs, Mississippi State University's football team gets a steak, has some fun, and learns about agriculture at MSU and in Mississippi.
Short, medium, tall. When you're planting a landscape bed, be sure you know the height of your plants.
In the markets, live catfish prices continue their decline as U.S. soybean export sales move along at a fast clip.
In the feature segment, we go back 12 years for a visit with George Berry of Richland, Mississippi. Berry is a master woodcarver who learned his skill on the farm with his father.
I used to watch my dad after working all day, stand at the end of the row after he was plowing or whatever, and he would stop to rest the horses and pick up a stick and start just cutting on it.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
Another controversial report says the nutritional difference between organic and traditional produce isn't as wide as many believe.
Leighton, the report comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The Academy says eating a wide variety of produce is important, but the source less so. The Academy says it conducted extensive scientific analysis of the evidence surrounding organic produce, dairy, and meat products. It says that organic foods have the same vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, proteins, and other nutrients as conventionally grown food. The Academy did say that organic foods tend to have lower pesticide levels, and organically raised animals are less likely to have drug-resistant bacteria. In the long run, however, the Academy says there's no current direct evidence that consuming an organic diet leads to improved health or lower risk of disease. It did say that no large-scale studies in humans have been conducted to specifically address that issue. The Academy said the most important factor is that children eat a healthy diet in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat or fat-free dairy products. It did say it didn't want families with limited incomes to eat smaller amounts of more expensive organic foods and reduce their overall intake of healthy foods.
At the second annual Beefing Up the Bulldogs event, the Mississippi State University football team got a chance to see the farming side of MSU. Players learned about where agricultural products come from, such as the famous MSU cheese and ice cream. They also participated in fun farming activities. Farmweek's Amy Taylor reports.
The Mississippi State University football team took a break from football to experience the agriculture sector of MSU. At the event called Beefing Up the Bulldogs, players were treated to a steak dinner provided by Mississippi Cattlemen's Association and were introduced to farming activities. Assistant Director of Football Operations John Clark says it's important to expose the team to other facets of MSU.
It's an opportunity for these guys to be around the farmers and the other supporters of Mississippi State, both football and the university itself. And it shows them, another characteristic of what Mississippi State provides, what the state of Mississippi provides not only to its citizens, but to the citizens of the United States.
At the event, several team members got to toss hay bales and even tried milking a cow. Coverback Jonathan Banks says he's actually no stranger to this lifestyle.
Where I'm from, we usually mess with a number of horses. We do a lot of team penning and stuff. Well, I don't anymore. I just go out and ride when I got time. Coming from a farm background where you got to be tough and hot and sweaty all the time, in the sun all the time, that'll get you prepared for football and all the toughness and hard work that goes along with farming. it always also can pay off in football. It'll be a tough experience for most of them. They don't know how it feels to pick up a square bale of hay or go out and touch a milk a cow or something like that, but I think most of them will have fun with it.
In addition to farming activities, the team was introduced to various leaders in Mississippi agriculture from MSU Animal and Dairy Sciences, the Division of Ag, Forestry, and Veterinary Medicine, and Mississippi Cattlemen's Association. From Mississippi State University, I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
As we leave October, let's check on the Mississippi Weekly Crop Report from the Mississippi Ag Statistics Service in Jackson. The corn harvest is finished. Rice farmers are definitely in the short rows. This report reflects conditions as of Sunday. As we look at topsoil moisture in the state, 76% adequate, 16% surplus, so pretty good there. In terms of Mississippi soybeans, 94% of the crop is harvested, and that is ahead of the 5-year average for the state. Mississippi cotton, about on the 5-year average, 64% of the crop harvested as of Sunday. In terms of condition, 70% of the crop is in excellent to good shape. As we look at Mississippi rice, we see right there 99% of the crop harvested as of Sunday, so I'm sure it's finished now, and that is ahead of the 5-year average for the state. Mississippi peanuts, the Doug category, which is easier to dig them, is ahead of the 5-year average, but the harvest, which is slower, is behind. It's about 48% as of Sunday. In terms of peanut condition, 62% of the crop in good to excellent shape. Mississippi sweet potatoes, harvest running a little behind, but not too bad, 70% complete as of Sunday. Mississippi wheat, 18% of the crop is planted and 8% of it has emerged.
Last week on Farm Week, you visited the state's outstanding Tree Farmer of the Year, John Arachea, at his place in Oxford. John and his wife Lois accepted the award on October 18th at the Mississippi Forestry Association annual meeting in Tupelo.
I feel very humble tonight. My heart feels very warm. I just wish I had the vocabulary to express my feelings.
Also presented that night was the 2012 Meritorious Service to Forestry Award. MFA's highest honor went to forestry consultant Steve Butler of Brandon.
But I didn't think it was coming this soon, so thank y'all very, very much. I appreciate it.
And honored as the Outstanding Logger of the Year by the Forestry Association was Tim Mahan of Golden. Tim and his wife Lisa were presented the traditional wooden log truck replica at the MFA Awards banquet.
I don't feel like I deserve it. You know, it's not just me, and as you saw in the video, it's the employees as well. You can't do it without them. And I want to say I appreciate each and every one of them.
You'll learn more about Tim Mahan's logging operation in next week's feature story on Farm Week.
Layering your flower beds with short, medium, and tall plants can give your garden a lot of visual interest. In this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman will show us some examples of this layering technique.
A common garden design trick is to layer your flower beds front to back with short, medium, and tall plants. Today I'm on the campus of Mississippi State University, where there are wonderful examples of this planting strategy. This beautiful shady bed is at one of the historical entrances to campus. The short plants in front are Aran Caladium with white leaves and green margins. Caladium should always be mass planted for the best landscape performance. The intermediate plants are beautiful angel wing begonia. The bright red flowers are gorgeous above the white caladium. Adding dramatic height is the violet-stemmed Colocasia fontanesii, commonly called violet-stemmed elephant ear. Another impressive planting bed is in the middle of a European-style traffic roundabout. The short plants in front are Foxtail Fern with the bushy fronds. There are a variety of medium-sized plants. Mississippi Medallion winner Lavender Sun Patience is a great choice for this planting, along with the red angel wing begonia. An interesting addition are the tropical bird of paradise plants scattered about. When their exotic blooms have faded, many of the buds have another flower that can be teased out to prolong the bloom period. There are some tall plants like these striped canna with their beautiful orange flowers, and this large Siam ruby banana plant with its red leaves with bronze and chartreuse blotches. But in this bed there is actually an even taller feature plant, these crepe myrtles with their large fluffy flower heads. These are examples of how layers of short, medium, and tall plants can be used in the home landscape. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Gary says to be sure to read the labels of the plants that you buy to see how tall they will be when they mature. Another good idea is to look for actual in-ground examples of the plant. This will keep you from planting short plants in the back or too tall plants in the front.
Makes sense.
In the feature segment, we're continuing our October emphasis on Farm Week's 35th anniversary. We go back 12 years today to visit a master woodcarver who learned his skill on the farm. Time now for the markets with Leighton. And Leighton, you say there's a growing concern about what's happening with catfish prices.
That's right. We'll be talking about the new monthly industry snapshot here in a moment. Also ahead this week in the markets, the number of cattle on feed is running below industry estimates. Some Southeast livestock farmers use South American corn now, and U.S. soybean export sales could exceed available supplies. The continued decline in the live fish price in the aquaculture sector is of major concern to that industry. In August, the U.S. pond bank price fell below 80 cents a pound and slipped more in September. Now, this level is 48 cents a pound below a year ago. Farm sales totaled 24.5 million pounds, a drop of 19% from September 2011. Processor sales were almost 13.5 million pounds for September. On the positive side, frozen fish inventories fell 8%. Fresh catfish sales were up 15% compared to a year ago. Two items of good news despite the continued decline in the live fish price. In the cattle sector, placements dropped again in the monthly cattle on feed report out from the USDA a week ago. Marketings of cattle by feedlots were also below expectations. Extension economist John Michael Riley provided some insight into these trends on Thursday morning. John Michael, let's begin with a little snapshot of what the report had to say.
Well, the report showed what we've been expecting for a long time and kind of in continuation from the past couple of months. Placements were down real hard, almost 19% compared to a year ago. That's the third straight month that placements have been down 10% or greater from year ago levels. So again, we've talked about the tightening supply due to the drought, due to a number of different factors, the shrinking cow herd, and we're really seeing that come into fruition here past couple of months. Marketing somewhat offset that. Marketings were down compared to year ago levels, but they were a little lower than expected, and that left the number of cattle on feed right in line with expectations, but down about 2.5% from a year ago. So we're finally starting to see the number of cattle in feedlots start to thin out as a result of all these issues that we've talked about for seems like a number of years. That's right.
Now that came out last Friday. What has the market reaction kind of been between then and now?
Well, it reacted, first thing Monday morning, it reacted positively to the report due to the much lower placements than expected. They were expected to be about 15% lower and ended up being right at 19%. So saw a jump there, and then other news from outside forces started filtering into the market and put some downward pressure on stock markets down, consumer sentiment's not where we want it to be. All these demand issues that we know are there put some downward pressure on prices, and just recently, yesterday and already a little bit this morning, those prices have started to come back up. But for the most part, the report was positive until all this other news came in.
Mm-hmm. And wholesale prices have pretty much been impacted this year?
That's right. The wholesale prices took a jump last week after being down for a little while, but we are starting to see some rebound there. Hopefully cash prices at the feedlot level will start to come up. They're still not where the futures prices are, but as we see these thinning numbers continue to move forward into 2013, there's not going to be a lot of cattle there, and that's definitely going to be a positive for prices.
And the word expansion is not really on the horizon at this point.
It's really not, because of the lingering drought and a lot of uncertainty and higher input prices. All those things are playing into people really questioning whether or not they want to expand their herds.
Some cattle operations and other livestock producers in parts of the Southeast are now using corn from South America to try and save money. USDA grains analyst Jerry Norton tells Brownfield Ag News that it makes sense for producers in the Carolinas up into the Delmarva area to bring corn into port areas along the Atlantic coast. Norton says farmers in these areas normally source their corn out of the eastern corn belt, which is, of course, the area hardest hit by this year's drought. For several months now, corn prices out of Argentina and Brazil have been lower than U.S. grain. Our trivia quiz this week focusing on organic farming. Here's the question for you. How many certified organic farms are there in Mississippi? Is the answer 7 or 13, 22 or 49? I'll tell you which one is correct in a few more minutes.
We're going to pause for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar in the second part of the markets. Leighton Spann reports soybean exports are moving fast and the market is soft for wheat. In the feature segment today, George Berry, master woodcarver. He appeared on Farm Week 12 years ago to show us the talent that's earned him a national reputation.
Each year, many Mississippians are seriously injured or killed in farm tractor accidents. Transporting and lifting objects with a front loader requires extreme caution. Unsecured objects can roll or slide down the loader arms and injure the driver. To help prevent injuries, tractors should be equipped with a falling objects protection system. Always secure loads or use a bale spear or straps before lifting objects. A message from the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. A tax credit workshop will be held Wednesday, November 7th. The hours are 8:30 a.m. to noon. This is a video conference, so there will be 10 locations throughout Mississippi. This is for financial professionals and community leaders so they can help teach others about finding and using tax credits. Prior knowledge of tax preparation is not required. Contact your county extension office for a location near you or look on the Farm Week calendar. The 2012 Delta Crop Summit will be Tuesday, November 13th at the MSU Delta Research and Extension Center at Stoneville. Runs from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Participants will be updated on water issues, new weed technology, and handling glyphosate-resistant weeds. Crop outlook and crop management, including peanuts, will be on the agenda. There's no registration fee and lunch is included. Continuing education credits are available for crop consultants. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
Extension wheat specialist Eric Larson says he expects wheat acreage in Mississippi will expand in 2013. Although the price picture is what more farmers are thinking about for wheat, for now there is some softness in this market. Analyst Mark Gold says, though, the bearishness should not be expected to last too long.
I personally think that the wheat market can be a little soft in here. I don't see any other real problems around the world. They only lowered the Russian estimate by 1 million metric tons. It could have been a lot worse. Russia still may be a player in this export market. Everybody's expecting them to run out of exportable supplies and turn to the U.S. That hasn't happened so far. So I'm a little bit bearish on this wheat market.
U.S. soybean export sales are reportedly moving at a fast clip these days. Analyst Tom Fitzenmeyer notes that bean exports are already at 77% of what the government was projecting for the entire marketing year.
We're only 3 weeks into the marketing season. So we've sold a ton of beans, and that has everybody wondering, are we going to be able to yank those out of the farmers' hands at adequate numbers to satisfy the needs? Now, our marketing year isn't going to really be a year. It's going to be 6 months because probably we're going to have a huge South American crop to satisfy the market's needs. So, but drawing those beans out of farmers' hands, you're going to have contract beans sold. You're going to have a certain number of beans sold off the combine just because the price is pretty decent. But what gets locked away is going to be hard to get your hands on.
Well, let's look at our trivia answer before we turn to the feature segment this week. There are 13 certified organic farms in Mississippi, according to a government production survey released earlier this month. B is the correct choice.
In case you haven't joined us so far in October, we are celebrating Farm Week's 35th anniversary. We first came on the air October 3rd, 1977. Our feature story today is one from 12 years ago. It's about George Berry of Rankin County. He's been relaxing for more than 50 years, carving out animals commonly seen in Mississippi. Barry's skill has earned him a nationwide reputation. He's a charter member of the Craftsmen's Guild of Mississippi and has served on its board of directors. Farmweek's Brian Utley did the guitar work on this story he first brought us in 2000.
Take a drive across Mississippi and you're likely to come across some of the animals and wildlife that are central to the state. Stop in at George Berry's workshop in Richland and you'll see some wooden replicas of these creatures that are almost lifelike. Berry learned the trade from his father at the early age of 7. Wood carving was used as a way to relax and pass the time.
I used to watch my dad after working all day, stand at the end of the row after he was plowing or whatever, and he would stop to rest the horses and pick up a stick and start just cutting on it.
What began as a hobby has since turned into something much larger. Hard work has helped Berry make a name for himself as an artist and a teacher. Perhaps the most amazing thing about his career is that all his carvings are created with a pocket knife.
It came natural for me to work like that, to do this. It's a gift, and I've always pursued it and practiced it, and this is what it's turning into now.
Berry moved to Mississippi from Oklahoma in 1972 to be an industrial arts instructor at the Pineywood School. Life in Mississippi has been good as he has achieved numerous awards and recognition for his work. In 1984, he was chosen to demonstrate wood carving in the Mississippi exhibit at the World's Fair. He has been featured in magazines such as Southern Living and the book Craft in America by Phyllis George. He also had one of his pieces featured on the cover of the 1993 South Central Bell telephone book, and the list goes on. The thing that sets Berry apart from other wood carvers is the fact that he doesn't use expensive machines for his work. He uses his hands. This is a distinction that he stresses.
I want him to know that I do it all by hand. I do it the old-fashioned way. That's done by the machine, that's there, and this is mine. And to me, the difference in doing that is, let me put it this way. If I go out here and dig a hole with a shovel, and you go out here and take a bulldozer, there's a lot of difference between that and this thing.
Wood carving is rarely taught in school classrooms, and Berry feels it is becoming a lost art. To share his love of carving with others, he often does demonstrations in schools, museums, and festivals. As a charter member of the Craftsmen's Guild of Mississippi, he also teaches year-round carving classes at the Chimneyville Crafts Gallery. Many of his students describe the experience as an escape.
Taking his class is just so relaxing. It's almost peaceful after a long day's work. You come in here and he's such an easy teacher and funny and easy to get along with that it's almost therapeutic.
I think people are starting to recognize that this is not just a wood carver. There's lots of wood carvers out there, but he's really a unique wood carver. I mean, he has he has this ease about him that makes him look like he could do it with his eyes closed and still come out with a wonderful piece.
Establishing a connection with people is what Berry strives for in his work. He wants them to see how good carving is for the soul.
This makes me care about myself, and I'm hoping that this will rub off on other people, that no matter whether they are carving, drawing, or whatever it is, that they will feel good about it themselves, good enough to care about themselves.
George Berry says he realizes that God has given him a special talent, and he doesn't take it for granted.
If I don't do the things that he gave me to do and the things that he blessed me to do, then I'm going to eventually lose it. So I made the decision to to do what he gave me to do, and I feel, and he blessed me, Sam.
More and more of Barry's time is spent going out and studying the animals he carves, paying close attention to their fine lines and intricate details, all in the pursuit of that perfect wood carving. He still participates in many arts and craft festivals across the state, so if you get a chance, stop in. You might get to meet a true Southern craftsman and gentleman. From Richland, I'm Brian Utley reporting.
If you're interested in more information on George Berry, you can watch this story again on our website, Facebook page, or YouTube page. We'll also have contact information on Berry as well, and our website is farmweek.msucares.com. And Leighton, as we said originally, that story first aired in 2000. Brian Utley is still in our department. He spoke with Berry on Tuesday and said that unfortunately he's developed cancer, but he is still teaching carving and teaching part-time at the Mississippi Craft Center. And Brian said he's getting positive reports from his doctors. So the cancer slowed him down, but I'm sure he would appreciate our thoughts and prayers. Well, we are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our show next week, some say that the words logger and environmentalist are mutually exclusive terms.
Tim Mahan is the Mississippi Forestry Association's new Outstanding Logger of the Year. He operates according to the Sustainable Forestry Initiative.
We'll have highlights of last month's annual Mississippi Rice Luncheon in Cleveland.
In Southern Gardening, learn some ways for your landscape to maintain its beauty as the seasons change.
For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.